These are the facts, not put out by mainstream media. If you want to know the truth, we put out the truth every single day, Monday to Friday. So if you want to know the truth, come to charlieward.com and see real news daily. And join the Insiders Club, which is live on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Charlie.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Oh, we got somebody else with us as well.
Yeah, there's Priscilla Romans.
Hi, Priscilla. How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing, Charlie?
I'm good. For me, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here because Brian and I became good friends backstage when we were on different events in America. And you get some people, and I'm not going to mention names, some people that are very, very big for their boots, and some people are proper down to earth and just good folk with a message. And Brian was one of these people that was a good man with a very clear message. And when we had the opportunity today to bring him on, my audience have a million questions. And there's not a better person than Brian there to answer them. And with the backup of Priscilla as well, that's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to ask Drew, there she is, she's hiding.
Hi, Drew.
Maybe we could start off with some good questions for Priscilla. Or maybe, Brian, you could introduce Priscilla first of all.
Yeah, so during COVID-19, Charlie Ward, it's great to see you, buddy. And it was great to travel around America with you and speak truth and try to protect as much of humanity as possible. Priscilla Romans was a key figure to assist me personally and a lot of people that were trusting me about the hospital protocol information, the reports we were producing, the remdesivir, deadly COVID-19 hospital protocols. Priscilla Romans stepped up, and another person named Michelle Routon had also stepped up. And these two incredible nurses assembled a advocacy team to help people in multiple countries around the world during COVID-19. Anybody coming to my website trying to get documents to protect themselves in hospitals, declare a medical power of attorney. How do I speak on behalf of my loved one who's on a vent right now and on remdesivir? Priscilla Romans and her incredible advocacy team at graithcare.com became instrumental in helping people all around the world. And Graithcare, GRAITHCARE.com is where her advocates are reached, where it is you consult with them and ask for their help. So they help with health advocacy, just if you're at home and want to get off medications, how to live a healthier life. But by far, they were heroes during the COVID-19 pandemic, where I and you, Charlie, were traveling around, testifying in state capitol buildings, being deposed by attorneys, holding lawsuit, press conferences against hospitals around the country. We needed people like Priscilla and her team at graithcare.com to help speak to individuals who did not know how to navigate those hospital waters. So she's very, very knowledgeable. I trust her 100% and am honored to have her on the show with us.
On that same point, and this is just a warning to everybody out there. We're coming into a period now which is actually far tougher than when Priscilla, Brian, and I were out there shouting at the start, because there was willing ears there now. Now we've got the dumb motherfuckers who didn't believe anything before. They just took the vaccine. They believed everything about COVID. And now you tell them the facts and they want 25 million pages of evidence before they'll start to listen. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. We're at a real tough time where we're trying to show people now, the truth. And the truth should set them free, but it's tied them up in knots because they can't get rid of pride. And they thought they were right, and they were convinced they were right, and they're not. They're left behind.
Yeah, so I don't think this is uncommon, by the way, when it comes to health agencies, governments declaring something that would be beneficial or harmful in the world. Do you remember, Charlie, years ago in the 80s and 90s, you would see in medical journals, you would see medical doctors going on television saying that there's this new substance that can prevent and reduce risks of heart attacks, strokes, and plaquing of arteries, and it's called fake butter. It's called margarine, and this will help reduce the risk. Oh my goodness. And then what did we learn 20 years later as individuals were like, this is one carbon molecule from becoming plastic?
Yeah.
Margarine. Okay. Has the tables turned since then? Have people realized in the last 40 years that yes, it's been published, more plaquing, more heart disease occurred by the consumption of margarine? And it's actually better for you to eat the fats in real butter, and that reduces your risk of heart attack, strokes, and obesity. But it just takes time. But man, many people defended margarine, and I can't believe it's not butter. And Fabio, whatever his name was, as his hair, blonde hair blowing in the wind in commercials. Every woman fell in love with, I can't believe this isn't butter. Well, just so you know, that I can't believe it's not butter was causing more heart disease, plaquing, but it took time for research to catch up, knowledge to catch up, and then people to have their own personal experience. I mean, really, truly, Charlie, as we educated people about what was in the ingredient deck in the COVID-19 vaccines, and people wanted to ignore the information and the research, now you're seeing the fallout of turbo cancers, deaths prematurely. You're seeing blood clots being pulled out of bodies that you've never seen before. You're just seeing an atrocious amount of myocarditis you've never seen before, exponential growth rates in diabetes, and those people who got the shots and didn't have diabetes before getting the shots. I mean, it's just amazing to watch the horrific fallout from this. And unfortunately, most people need a personal experience to shatter their reality before they will ever defend or openly admit that they were wrong. And I've said this my whole life, Charlie, even to family members, individuals. I think the hardest thing for any human being to ever admit is that they were wrong about some belief that they later defended, only to find out they were wrong. And I just think that's, by human nature, the scariest thing for anybody to admit they were wrong, regardless if they gave the vaccine or encouraged an employee to get the vaccine and they died. Why would an employer want to admit, I recommended this to them, mandated this, and then they died? They don't want to claim liability or responsibility to any degree. They'd rather just dismiss it and go, no. They said it was safe and effective. No. Unfortunately, it wasn't. So anyway, unfortunately, I think the hardest pill for people to swallow is to admit when they were wrong. And I've been wrong a billion times in my life, and that's okay. I'll tell you when I'm wrong. But I also am very right about many, many things. And so
there's a lot of things that you and I we'd love to be proven wrong, wouldn't we? We'd love somebody to say,
people all over the world, prove me wrong.
Right. Exactly, prove me wrong. Well, Priscilla, I'm going to hand over to you to say something.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Ardis is absolutely correct here. Graith Care launched in March of 2020, before the lockdowns and mandates happened. So I literally just started this because I was a nurse that was frustrated with how corrupt the system was. And I wanted to help guide people, not realizing what was about ready to unfold with the isolations, the remdesivir. And for your audience to know, they are still giving remdesivir in the hospital. We still get those phone calls today. So I don't want people to think this magically all stopped. This did not stop. We are still dealing with a healthcare machine that operates on a business platform that wants to keep you sick. It's really good business to keep you sick. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was another virus or something else that came about, because they made a lot of money, and they also did have a lot of depopulation happen. And it's still happening because people still are waking up. And by the time they start waking up, they call us for help in very critical scenarios. I mean, we're talking life-changing scenarios where they literally just woke up saying, oh my God, what did I put in my body? Why have I been doing this statin medication for 30 plus years, and I just learned how bad it was for me? This is the awakening in the healthcare system that we are dealing with here at Graith Care every single day. People call from all around the world. I mean, we just got a phone call from Sri Lanka, okay? People are waking up all across the world, and even in the states where we think are very corrupt, like California. I'm sure you have a lot of people following you from California. We get calls all the time saying, how do I handle this in my healthcare journey? And we match them to a patient advocate on our team. It's like match.com, but we're the best data in healthcare. And we match them with an advocate, and we go after whatever it is that they need help with. So you name it, we do it. And Dr. Ardis definitely knows our level of care and interest. But the good part right now that I want people to know is we only have a couple people left in the hospital. So the majority of our people that are coming to us, they're at home. They do not want to go to the hospital. They do not trust their doctor. They do not trust what the government's telling them. They don't trust the schedules that are being put out there in terms of the pediatric schedule. We have a great awakening that is happening. So when people are starting to feel frustrated that nothing is happening out there, trust me, there's a lot of great things happening and people are getting healing.
Cool. Drew, going to hand over to you now for questions.
Thank you. Priscilla, you were speaking about statins, and I have a question here from Drusilla. My doctor told me to take statins. I said no. Can you please explain statins?
Well, first of all, good job saying no. What I want people to remember here on the Charlie Ward Show is you need to be very strategic in how you say no, because I don't want you to become a non-compliant patient, okay? There's something called the electronic medical record, the EMR system. And in these algorithms that are in these big fancy electronic medical records, they want to put people as a non-compliant patient. Okay, we are dealing with some deep stuff here, like a population health agenda. I know this sounds crazy, but trust me on this. You don't want to be a non-compliant patient. So to somebody saying no to statin, what I need you to say instead is say, thank you so much, doctor. That's really great information. And then you need to call an advocate and we can help guide you as to what you need to do to be healthy, to lower your blood pressure, or whatever the concern is. There is a healthier way to do it, because what Dr. Ardis will explain with statins in particular, people have side effects that are neurologically changing, life-changing, and when they come off of it, magically, they get better. So Dr. Ardis, I don't know if you want to tag onto that, but what you speak about statins is brilliant.
Yeah, I will actually. Charlie, where are you right now?
I'm in the UK right now.
So about 3 weeks ago, I was in Manchester, England, and I was doing
that's
a
where I am.
presentation. And people were there from Wales, Scotland, all over England. The UK was very well represented. So what I'm about to say about statins, I presented there an entire 1 hour presentation live to those audiences and abroad. So the number one prescribed drug by number, nothing is more prescribed to the United Kingdom residents more than atorvastatin, which is Lipitor. So this is a statin drug to lower cholesterol. It is the number one by number. How many volumes of prescriptions are given out to the UK residents? Nothing is given out more than Lipitor, a statin drug. In America, in 2025, it's exactly the same. The number one by volume most prescribed drugs that people go to any pharmacy in America for is Lipitor, atorvastatin. Now, this is what I presented to the UK. Did you know last year in the UK alone, breast cancer rates in women went up 18% last year?
Wow.
Okay, now I want you to stay there because atorvastatin, Lipitor, is the number one prescribed drug to all people in the UK and the United States every single year. Do you know that the medical profession has a classification of various drugs, and they will tell you if that drug is a unknown carcinogen, a probable carcinogen, or a known carcinogen. So carcinogen means that chemical causes and is known to cause cancer. So they have drug categories, and they'll say this drug is unknown if it causes cancer. This drug is probable. It just might cause cancer. But do you know what they say about statin drugs? It's in its own category all by itself. It is a known published carcinogen, meaning they know you swallow that chemical, it will start producing cancer in every part of your body. It is a known cancer-causing chemical. Now, I just want to say this. So atorvastatin, statin drugs, it doesn't matter. Lipitor, it doesn't matter any of them. Crestor, name them all. It doesn't matter. This is the number one prescribed drug for cholesterol drugs. All right, so I want to say something here. And I presented this to the UK. I'm going to present it all over the world here on this show with Charlie Ward, one of my heroes, one of my buddies. All right, it's very important, everybody. Statin drugs in every research study for the last 50 years, when you put that drug in a person with high LDL cholesterol, which is bad cholesterol, they call it, high triglycerides, and low good cholesterol called HDL. It doesn't matter if you give them Lipitor for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or any other statin. Only LDL, bad cholesterol, will come down, and only triglycerides will come down. But HDL, the good cholesterol that prevents heart attacks and plaquing and heart and strokes, that does not come up. It has zero benefit to good cholesterol levels. However, which I showed in the UK just a few weeks ago, in head-to-head studies for the last 20 years, They took this sap from nature called Google resin extract, and they take Lipitor, atorvastatin, for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and 12 weeks, and they take people with high cholesterol, bad cholesterol, low, good cholesterol, and they give them Google resin extract, spelled Guggul resin extract, head-to-head studies against Lipitor only. I quote every research study, whether it was 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, comparing cholesterol benefits to statin drugs versus Google resin. Google resin in every research study, I quote the research authors, was far superior to statin drugs at lowering bad cholesterol and triglycerides, but Google resin alone raises HDL cholesterol, your good cholesterol. It's the only thing that does it. It brings your heart protective cholesterol up, and it is far superior than all the statin drugs without any known published toxic side effects compared to statin drugs, which are known cancer-causing chemicals. So in the UK, nobody is swallowing more pills than cancer-causing Lipitor atorvastatin. Okay, if you wanted an option, at the Dr. Ardis Show, for example, I have an all-organic form of Google resin I now promote to audiences as an alternative if you want to improve your cholesterol to try to prevent heart disease. There's a better way to do it that's less known, less toxic to cause cancer. So Google resin has no side effects, no toxicities whatsoever, unlike the alternative. Secondly, you did not bring it up yet, Drew. Thank you for asking about statin drugs, but I want to mention this. The fifth most prescribed drug last year in the UK was levothyroxine, which is Synthroid for your thyroid. It's the fifth most prescribed drug in the UK. It was the third most prescribed drug in the United States. And I showed everybody in attendance in Manchester, England 3 weeks ago that levothyroxine, it has been confirmed in multiple studies from around the world, including Sweden, the United States, you name it, that levothyroxine increases the risk of every single cancer known on Earth. And in women, it increases death caused by cancer in every single person. It increases the risk of death from any cancer. And it is a known carcinogen to increase your risk of cancer. So as cancer rates explode, as deaths from cancer explode, turbo cancers explode, just recognize many of you not just getting COVID-19 vaccines that have been correlated as a causative agent in turbo cancer since COVID-19 injections, all of you are swallowing chemicals they know are known carcinogens to cause cancer, so to form in any part of your body. So I think it's best that you guys just know this information that the medical profession knows, and there are alternatives. And to open the floodgates of knowledge and research on your own, a great medical doctor named Sherry Rogers wrote a book over 20 years ago called The Cholesterol Hoax. I saw it referenced in the chat on this Zoom call. Somebody wrote in the chat, "Thank you for telling us about the cholesterol hoax. I bought it and several other books she wrote." Yes, this is a medical doctor, not Dr. Brian Ardis, not Priscilla Romans, not Charlie Ward. A medical doctor tells you the history of the hoax around cholesterol and cholesterol drugs called statins. So there's your information I'd give you. That's all I got. Ask your doctor if cancer's right for you when they prescribe statin drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, we want to know, Dr. Brian Ardis, if you've told us number 1, you told us number 5, but what's number 2 on the list? What's number 3 and 4?
Oh, okay. So, well, I'd have to pull up the presentation. You may pull it up? I'll pull it up. Hold on.
Why not? Why not?
I'll give it to you. Hold on. I only memorized those 2 because I wanted to make sure you knew 2 of the top 5 were known to cause cancer, which was on the rise in the UK in the mainstream media. I was taking these articles from the week before I came there, and I was like, I might as well show you these. All right, so let me pull it up. I've got it in my PowerPoints.
Brilliant. If you want me to do another question while you have a look,
Sure,
that's
go
not
ahead.
a problem.
Yeah, you can ask another question.
Yeah, okay. Well, I wanted to get on the subject of tobacco because we've got a few questions. So Linda's asked, where do we get info to grow, harvest and use our own tobacco? I raised my first plant last summer and they yellowed.
So when are they going to get the information how to grow their own?
Yeah.
Well, I just need to do that presentation, but you can buy organic tobacco seeds and you can start growing those in the UK now. I've done interviews about those topics in the last 2 years, but I don't grow my own. I order my own organic tobacco leaf here in the United States, and I prefer organic Virginia flue tobacco leaf. So I don't grow my own, but you can grow your own. We've got farms all over America and Canada that are growing their own and finding out how to make extracts, teas, salves, topical solutions to get the healthy benefits of tobacco out of the plant and into your body. But I actually buy the organic tobacco flue leaf from a company I believe is called leaf.com, and it's organic Virginia flue tobacco. And all I do is actually steep it every Sunday, 3 leaves in a half a gallon of water, boil the water. Then I turn off the heat, put in the 3 tobacco leaves, and then I strain out after 10 minutes of the tobacco leaves being in there. I take the fluid, put it in a huge mason jar, put it in the fridge, and it's good for about a week. And I will do foot soaks, scalp treatments, topical treatments. It's pretty miraculous. So there's an incredible list of nutrients in tobacco. Did you know tobacco is known as the panacea of panacea for 500 years by the medical profession? And if you don't know what panacea means, panacea is Latin for cure-all of all human diseases. So it's been called the panacea of all panaceas. There's been references throughout history that there's a plant they believe that could cure all things, a drug that could cure all things. But tobacco is actually the only plant ever defined by mainstream medicine as the cure for all human diseases.
Just on that very same point, it's very interesting that the one thing that I've learned in the last 7 years is that God has given us everything that we would ever need. We just got to work it out.
All right, here's your list. You asked for it. These are the list of the top 20 drugs sold last year or prescribed last year in the UK. You can see it there. Look, top 20 most prescribed drugs in England, 2024 to 2025. Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right, so you got atorvastatin's number 1. That is Lipitor. I highlighted in this presentation levothyroxine, which is Synthroid, but then you'll see the other ones on the list. Amlodipine is number 2. Omeprazole is number 3. And then lansoprazole, which I've never even talked about ever, but actually Priscilla might pronounce that one better than me. So I wanted to highlight the 2 top 5s of the 20. And then I actually dove into this. I don't know if you guys know this, but then I dove into this, and I'll show you this, which I found amazing. When you get down here to top prescribed drugs, look at these. In the top 20 drugs prescribed in America, it's Zoloft, Elavril, Celexa, Remeron. Those are the brand names there. And I don't know if y'all know this. Do you know that heart disease is the number 1 or number 2 killer in the UK? And did you know that SSRIs are linked to causing heart disease? And I walked through this. So 4 of the top 20 sold drugs and prescribed drugs in the UK last year are known to cause heart disease. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew there in the UK too. Just so y'all know, you got the 2 of the top 5 drugs cause cancer. 4 of the top 20 drugs prescribed to everybody in the UK causes heart disease. And I walk them through all of the evidence. So anyway.
So something that's really important here that I want the listeners to understand is when Dr. Ardis, we have a lot of people that call Grave Care every single day saying, I want to know what Dr. Ardis does for this. How do I start shifting my world of what I've been doing for years? And how do I get off of these medications? How do I do it safely? And so on the Grave Care team, we understand Dr. Ardis's protocols very well. Our advocates, particularly, we have an advocate that has a pharmacist background of over 20 plus years, and he understands how to help look at the drug interactions of what you're currently on, and also going, what do we really need to provide in terms of supplementation, like what Nature Wins, what Dr. Ardis provides, because people are trying to find that balance. But we want people to also remember, if you've been on these medications for a very long time, there are some implications of just stopping them. And we do have people that have done that, and they call us in crisis. You really do need a good plan of making sure you're properly doing this and you're getting the right follow-up care. It's really important because we don't want you to rebound, and we definitely don't want you to have a crisis to go into the hospital. So I just want the listeners to really, you hear Dr. Ardis saying all these things, but people go, what do I do for me? What do I do for my kid? What do I do for my mom that's been sick? Like there's transformation happening in the homes of people right now going, what do I do with all of these pharmaceuticals? And is there a way to get out of this? And I want people to know there is. You need an advocate that's on your side to help you move through this journey to healing, because it can happen what Charlie said. We have all the right stuff. God's provided all of it. Sometimes we need a help with a guide to make that plan happen for you.
Yeah, and I'll just
That's a
speak here
very,
too.
very,
The advocates are great simply because, and what Priscilla's bringing up is anybody that just watched what I just put on the screen, they're going to be on SSRIs for depression
Yep.
already. Now they're going to be scared they're developing heart disease and are going to become a statistic. And then you have levothyroxine, atorvastatin for cholesterol that are known carcinogens. And I walked everybody through the research on that. That is peer reviewed and published by medical research. And all of you might be out there going, well, how do I get off this stuff? And then how do I transition to natural or dietary changes? Well, I'm just going to say here, this is what's amazing about Priscilla Romans and her team. They have the time and they have the people on their staff, like a pharmacist, who can walk you, like teach you how to titrate slowly off of certain medications that are dangerous to your health if you cold turkey stop them. Now, I'm going to say something here. Nothing will happen to you except you'll improve your health if you stopped cholesterol drugs. They're the only drugs in the world, Dr. Ardis will ever say, stop cold turkey. Every other prescription drug in the world, I will say, do not do that. You had better be talking to someone to come off of those slowly while someone educates you in the ways of diet, minerals, vitamins, and herbs that can offset the side effects and the requirements of the human body to correct the imbalances the drugs are being prescribed for. So, for example, levothyroxine, a known carcinogen. I could show you from my UK presentation, every single cancer levothyroxine is directly correlated to creating. I can show you. But if you're sitting there going, oh my God, how do I come off of this Synthroid? I'm one of these many people in the UK and America taking this drug known to cause cancer. People in the audience in Manchester came up to my wife, Priscilla, and Charlie. You met my wife, Jane. They had walked up to her and were in tears after the presentation because they're on levothyroxine and they don't know how to get off of it. Well, this is what I educate everybody, and this is what you're going to learn with me, what you're going to learn with Graith Care and Priscilla Romans and their team. The thyroid, this organ in your throat that makes T3, T4 hormone that many people in the UK obviously have under-functioning or low levels of these hormones, or they wouldn't be putting you on levothyroxine, a synthetic form of those hormones. Charlie, Priscilla, Drew, everybody at home, your thyroid, like your bones. If I asked you what mineral in your body does the bones need to heal from a fracture or a bone bruise, what is it? What heals the bone? What mineral? Calcium. Okay, so the bone needs calcium. What does the thyroid need to actually make normal levels of hormone? Do you guys know? It's selenium, iodine, and an amino acid called tyrosine. So if you're working with Graith Care and you're learning from a healthcare professional how to start the process of coming off of levothyroxine, you need somebody who can teach you what foods give you selenium, iodine, and L-tyrosine, what mineral supplements have the correct therapeutic doses in them before you come off of levothyroxine or Synthroid. So as you're coming off some of those medications slowly, it's called titration. You are feeding the body what it needs to be able to produce those hormones on their own. So this is the transition period for most people on any drugs other than statin drugs, that I will always say you need to have somebody walk this journey with you coming off of these synthetic drugs that can have really detrimental side effects, and then actually introduce what is required to the human body designed by God to get your body to make these on their own. And I'll say it here, selenium and iodine, you know what they have in common? They're on the periodic table of elements you all memorized as a kid is what your body's made of. Yet no endocrinologist will tell you, who prescribes levothyroxine or Synthroid, they will never tell you, well, the basics are you need iodine and selenium for your thyroid. No, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you you need to take levothyroxine and Synthroid, which increases the revenue stream of the largest revenue stream for Big Pharma, cancer diagnosis and treatment.
Yeah. And on a point of that with these doctors in particular, I know a lot of people want to go into their doctor's office and try to convince them or try to get them to understand the research. I'm just, in my opinion, stop doing that. You need to come up with your game plan and how you're going to heal yourself. These doctors do not operate on those levels. And actually, some of these doctors, when you start to tell them these things, like, for example, alternatives, like when people want ivermectin, and they go tell their doctor this, their doctor goes, well, that's nothing we ever do. That's not something you should do. It's not part of our protocol. Well,
Mm-hmm.
right, like people need to, I really feel strongly, people are trying to convince these doctors that have literally worked in the system for years. They don't do anything outside of the insurance system when they're being paid from the big pharma, big
Mm-hmm.
insurance system. So personally, don't waste your energy trying to convince them. Like they're not that smart. Some of them are not that smart. There are some that are good out there. I'm not saying all, but don't waste your time in trying to convince these doctors that everything that Dr. Ardis is doing, they don't, most of them don't care. And
Mm-hmm.
if they did care, they would be doing their research. And we literally have clients always saying, why don't the doctors change their protocol? Again, they're in a corrupt healthcare system that is being paid a lot of money to continue and check the algorithms and the boxes in their EMR system. So people need to get in control of their own health and get on their journey and stop and wean off from this very controlled healthcare system. I mean, it is a battle and it's a mind battle for people because they've always been used to going to a doctor in a white coat. These doctors in the white coats, they are not telling you all of your options, nor are they going to tell you about nicotine, nor are they going to tell you about selenium or iodine. They're not going to do it. And if you do find a special one out there that does talk about it, God bless you. I think that's amazing. And we need to know about those doctors. But in the meantime, really, really heed my warning. Don't waste your energy. Don't give your energy away. You know, heal your body, heal yourself with your own game plan. And if you need help implementing that, have a freedom advocate on your side. That's why we do private patient advocacy. We don't work for the system. We work for you.
That's perfectly
Doc,
said.
doctors are very much like my mechanic. When I turned up with a brand new, very nice car, every time the car went in for a service, the mechanic found something else that needed doing. And that's a bit like the doctors. You go in to see them, and you're looking well, but if you try this could make you really poorly, and you'd need to come back more often to me, which would keep me busy and keep me in a job. And that's what's been going on for years. And behind the scenes, you've got these pretty little Ukrainian and Russian girls who are going around offering these new medicines that are absolutely no good to anybody. But because they turn up to an old man who's a gynecologist who's probably in his 70s and dealing with older women, a little bit of fluff turns up from Ukraine, pretty little thing with a new medicine. He's on board overnight, this one. He goes out for lunch with her, everything. It's amazing how easy they fall into this trap. And I do happen to know that firsthand from a doctor who told me. He said, when she turned up, I had to take her out for, she invited me out for lunch and she paid. And I thought to myself, this just shows the way the world is run. And it's naughty to say, but I take my hats off to the pharmaceutical company. They've completely hoodwinked us all. And they've come in through the back door where nobody was looking. And they've made us believe all the BS that's out there. They've got media on board. They've been pumping this stuff out there so that we rush in there to get. I mean, you only had to watch through COVID the amount of people who lined up for a jab. I mean, 100 strong lines. Nobody did any checks. Nobody did. This is for a virus that you couldn't see. If they'd looked up, they'd have seen chemtrails, but they'll argue about that because they can see it. But they accept something they can't see. So it's the world we're living in. This is all an awakening, and those who are awake, which all of my audience are, you sit back and smile. But for those people who are waking up now, it's hard work. And of course, the medical profession, without people being sick, don't have a job. And there's some big hospitals out there that cost a fortune to run. So they need a lot of sick people. And we're learning, thanks to Priscilla and Brian, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping people sick. But if you don't want to be on that gravy train of sickness, then you have to take control of your own health. And you have to
Most
take
doctors are
control of your own
employees
life.
now of hospital systems that are owned by corporations. So this
Yeah.
takes away the idea that you could practice medicine per person, go into their medical history, create your own protocol for them or individualized medicine for them. No, that doesn't happen anymore. It's all controlled by corporations. And I want to say this. This is amazing. I looked it up the other day. I wanted to know, in the United States of America, all 50 states, what is the absolute number of bank buildings in the 50 states? And then I wanted to know, how many hospital buildings are there physically in America? Do you know there's many, many more hospitals than there are banks? And do you know
Wow.
there's like 4 times more hospitals and ER and urgent care centers than there are bank buildings? So just want you to know, this is what made final sense to me a few weeks ago. I was like, oh, I've been to board meetings at hospitals, and the board members all introduce themselves, and 90% of them say their history is not in medicine. They are from the banking institution. Most of the board members of hospital systems are bankers, and I think they have found more money and revenue can be driven into their buildings called hospitals out of the fear of disease and death. They can get you to have your insurance pay for anything they want, bill you to death, even when they kill you and poison you to death. Can you imagine any other industry, Charlie, where you take your car to a mechanic, for example, and you say, hey, there's something wrong with my car. Can you fix it? Could you imagine showing up back to the mechanic shop and them telling you, I'm sorry, we took the whole thing apart. We can't put it back together. It will not start now. It will not run here. We know you drove it here, but this is the bill for all of our hours of service.
Mm.
And then could you imagine going, you know what, mechanic, I think I should pay that bill. No, you would never pay that bill. You would expect to pay them to make your car work.
Yeah.
Can you name another industry like the medical profession where you go in and you say, I have a fever and a headache or I can't breathe, and then they hook you up to machines, and then they literally kill you with drugs like remdesivir, Precedex, lorazepam. I mean, all these there's a lot of drugs. Midazolam they use in the UK to sedate you and not be able to breathe, then you die. They bill that as palliative care to your health insurance, and they still send the family the bill when they didn't save your life. Can you imagine any other industry where you take anything other than your body to be serviced or fixed or improved, and that you would agree to pay them in full for not making it better, but killing your machine, making it not run again? It doesn't work. Could you imagine actually paying them to do that? Name another industry where you do that. Why do we do that with our bodies? Why?
Exactly.
I don't understand it. It's ridiculous.
Another question?
Okay, so this is quite an interesting question. What is there to help those on high dosage antipsychotics for mental health issues? Would that be more like a parasite cleanse?
For anxiety and panic disorders or neurological disorders?
Yeah,
Or what was this? Mental illness?
Yeah, mental illness if you're on psychotics.
Okay, very good. All right, so this is very, very important. So you have a scale when it comes to mental illness. You've got generalized depression, general affective disorder or seasonal disorder, depression. You've got bipolarism, manic depression, schizophrenia, bipolarism. There's just this scale, and at the top is schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is defined as having delusions of grandeur, where you think the government's spying on you, wanting to steal from you and collude to ruin your life in clandestine meetings, secret meetings. Then they also hallucinate, meaning they see things that aren't really there that other people don't see, right? So let's just pick on the worst of all of them, schizophrenia, because schizophrenia on the scale of mental illness has characteristics of all the other mental illnesses below it. So they carry characteristics of bipolarism. They carry depression and all the other ones. All right. So everything else adding up equals delusions, hallucinations. Now the worst of all mental illness is called schizophrenia. So what I'm about to say about schizophrenia applies to all the other ones. You're all put on antipsychotic drugs. You're all put on SSRIs, tricyclic antidepressants. I mean, this is what you're put on. All of you. Barbiturates. You are. Trust me, I know. All right, so with schizophrenia, I want to quote from a University of Harvard nursing school study. They took schizophrenic children and adults and for 2 months put them on a strict no cow's milk diet. And 100% of them lost all of their schizophrenic traits in 2 months.
No way.
Wow.
Now, for any of you out there going, wait, is he for real? All right, so there's a group called the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and this is a supportive group with chapters all over the United States where they support people who are married or in family members are psychotic or have mental illnesses. So it's to support the loved ones of those who suffer with mental illness. And when I was in Tennessee in my practice, I was asked by the president of that chapter to come every quarter and do a presentation to their group because her husband, who suffered from schizophrenia for years, and it just destroyed their marriage, their finances, all of it. Within 2 months of me working with him in my practice, I changed his diet, put him on specific supplements. All of his schizophrenic traits improved and went away. And so she kept asking me to come and present this information about diet and nutrition. So just want y'all to know, if you're dealing with bipolarism, schizophrenia, you got to get off cow's milk. That's number uno. And I'm talking, if you're looking at me going, well, I don't drink milk. Do you eat Cheetos or any chips powdered with nacho cheese? That's made from cow's milk. Do you eat ice cream? Do you eat cheese? I mean, this is all made from cow's milk. You got to get off of it like 100% and watch your mental illness improve. Then when it comes to schizophrenia also, do you know in my book, the international best-selling book, Moving Beyond COVID-19 Lies, in chapter 13, I show you 2 research studies where schizophrenia is improved with nicotine patches in 7 days.
Yeah.
You can just wear a 7 milligram nicotine patch for 7 days, and all these schizophrenic research studies are like, oh my God, most of their schizophrenic traits improve. Well, if you added no dairy with adding the nicotine from the tobacco plant, you can actually improve the neurological symptoms of mental illness and their characteristics. Number 2, for all of you that have schizophrenia, you need to be on 2,000 milligrams of inositol, which used to be called vitamin B7, and you need to be on acetylcholine called choline, or CDP choline is a form. You can get that online or any of your pharmacies or Whole Food stores. You need 1,000 milligrams of choline, spelled CHOLINE, and you need 2,000 milligrams of inositol, INOSITOL, and you've got to get dairy out of your life. But if you're on any of those antipsychotic medications, you have got to have someone help you titrate off of those slowly. I had a parent that was on 4 combined antipsychotics, including SSRIs and barbiturates for panic disorder and anxiety. She does not have any of those anymore in her life for like 15 years, but struggled on them for 15 years. Lexapro took 6 months of titrating her off of those very slowly to keep her from having withdrawal symptoms of paranoia and scared and anxiety and panic, heart racing. It's amazingly addictive, those drugs for depression and for psychiatric conditions. So you just got to come off of those really, 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 really slowly while you correct the diet and then feed the body.
There's also another very simple thing that you can add to that to make life easier. One of the biggest causes of stress and fear and worry and all the rest of it is people worry about what's past that you can't do anything about. And they worry about tomorrow, which hasn't even arrived. Which, if people learn to live for today and make the best of everything today, that in itself will help improve the quality of life. You can't worry about tomorrow because it's not even here. You can't worry about yesterday because it's gone. Nothing you can do about it. There's a lot of people worry about shit that they should just leave it alone and just enjoy the moment. Live for today. Live your life and enjoy what you have today. And you'll be amazed just that simple thing as well can change your whole mindset.
Amen.
Yeah. Making a really game plan for the individual person is really important. What Dr. Ardis talked about earlier, in terms of like the healthcare system, they do want a population health agenda, meaning everybody on the same type of medications, everybody get the same thing per their diagnosis code, and they just put you in a box. But you as an individual have your own things that you're encountering, the toxins that are in your environment, your financial situation, the spiritual part. All of these things are really important to talk to somebody to put you on the right path for today. And what Charlie's saying is right. Don't worry about tomorrow, but let's figure out what do we do today. And I like to really then get people focused on 7 days of success. Because for instance, when you're trying to wean yourself off of something, having a 7-day plan, you can really see that. And when you start stringing together 7 days of success after 7 days of success, you're going to look back in the last 6 months going, I did it. I did it. You don't have to just flip the switch right away. That can actually be dangerous, especially when we are talking about SSRIs. So this is a relationship, a partnership, and you're just not going to find it in the healthcare system. And that's exactly why I have a team of 30 plus advocates that are all, we have clients in all 50 states and 30 plus countries that are coming for help because they are sick and tired of being sick and pushed another pill, pushed another procedure, given a diagnosis, or saying you have a rare diagnosis. Everybody gets caught up on, I've got a rare diagnosis. No, 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 no. You have a deficiency that they are not going to talk about. They are going to put a Band-Aid on it, and you're going to keep coming back every couple weeks, every couple months, and you're probably going to get into a crisis. So I would say today, you really need to think about your game plan, because sometimes tomorrow may not happen if you don't get on the horse today. And I do that sense of urgency because people are dealing with some really difficult diagnoses, and they're just not going to get that individual plan of care that they really do deserve.
Thank you. Dr. Ardis, any thoughts for intracranial hypertension?
Yeah, there's actually two questions I saw a post up there. That was one of them. So for intracranial, that's inside the head, hypertension or pressure. So there's an actual condition called Arnold-Chiari syndrome, where increased cranial pressure is pushing from the inside of the brain out, and it's pressing the brain against the skull and outside the foramen magnum, which is the bottom hole at the base of your skull. Okay. The number one thing I found with any individuals dealing with that, most likely, this got brought up earlier, you have what are called the choroid plexus, choroid plexus, inside the ventricles, the inside holes inside your brain, and they produce the fluid in your brain. But something's telling them to produce too much fluid is what the blame is for intracranial hypertension or pressure. So the choroid plexus are supposedly responsible. Every single person that was dealing with intracranial hypertension, they would actually pass out, they'd faint, they'd have seizures because of the pressure at the base of their skull on their brainstem. I would solely recommend, number one, I hope you are seeing a chiropractic practitioner or an osteopathic doctor, because if the first bone in your neck, called the atlas, is rotated in or out of alignment just slightly, the fluid in your brain can't pass down into your spinal cord. And then it builds up in your brain like a balloon, like a water balloon, and then you get this increased pressure. So an osteopath, a chiropractor is where I would go number one. Number two, increase inflammation in the brain. I would absolutely do a stool sample test looking for parasites in the brain. And in London is Parasite Centers. It's called, I think it's called parasitetesting.com/UK. Yeah, that's what it is. So go there to look up Parasite Testing London, and you will see the lab. You can order a stool sample test there. I walked everybody in Manchester through that website. When I listened to several presenters say no parasites exist in England, I was like, oh no, time to show you guys. There is actually a place in London testing all of you for parasites. It's definitely there. But, and I walked them through that website. It's a great, great resource there. So that's intracranial hypertension is where I go. Osteopath, chiropractor, do your parasite stool sample test for parasites in the brain, because that can increase inflammation in the brain too. All right. Number two, I want to answer this. I saw it. Somebody asked about glaucoma. I saw it just flash up there, glaucoma. 100% of glaucoma patients I've tested in practice over 20 years had no eye problems. There was no problem with their eye. Glaucoma is the inside of your eyeball has a chamber of water. And when that pressure increases, the eyeball can't shift in focus because it's really hard. Like picture a water balloon. As you fill it up with more and more water, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. But when it's less water, it's very pliable. And the muscles on the outside of the eye change the shape of your eye to be able to focus long distance, short distance. When the water pressure inside of your eye increases, they call it glaucoma, and it affects your vision. I've actually had legal blind patients in my office who could not read my forms. In my office, I had to have my office staff read it to them out loud, and then my office staff had to write and fill in the intake forms because of legally blind from glaucoma diagnosis. And within 2 months, their vision all came back, and I didn't even treat their eyes. 100% of all glaucoma patients, this is awesome. I love that question, by the way. Glaucoma is an increase in water pressure in your eyeball. Water. Water, 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 water. It's only water. There's nothing else. It's just water. So I'd like to ask Drew, Charlie, Priscilla, what organ in the human body releases excess water?
Kidney.
Your kidneys. Anybody with glaucoma, you've got an eye specialist blowing pressure in your eyeballs, and it has nothing to do with your eyes.
Right.
It has everything to do with your kidneys are not releasing adequate amount of water. So if you want to reverse glaucoma, you might want to watch my podcast I did about a month and a half ago on my website about how to reverse all chronic kidney problems. And if you just follow those recommendations, it will improve the water retention in your eyes and all over your body, and you will watch your blood pressure come down. You'll watch glaucoma reverse. It's incredible. It might take 2 or 3 months, but you just got to do it. So anyway,
Yeah. And
glaucoma
notice,
is strictly kidney related. So fix the kidneys, improve water release, and the glaucoma water pressure on the inside of your eye goes down.
Now
and,
you've said
and notice he said 2 to 3 months. This isn't like a drive-through. There is some consistency that people do need to do with these efforts, and not just think one day or 2 days is going to work, especially when you've dealt with things for, in some cases, decades. They've been dealing with these things. And what Dr. Ardis said with the glaucoma in particular, people are being misdiagnosed every single day. So just because you got a diagnosis, I would have a second set of eyes on it, because if you look up how many misdiagnoses there are and they put you on a trajectory of a protocol that is all prescription procedure based because it's making the money, you might want to just have a second set of eyes look at that, because I think there are misdiagnoses, and they don't even, of course, talk about the kidney with glaucoma.
Oh, and I do want to say this. We talked about medical records earlier. Priscilla did a great job of reviewing that in the protocols. It just shows up in the software. You put in information about a patient, it pops up. This is what you're going to do to them. What? Okay, this is cookie cutter medication and treatment. It's weird. All right, so I actually think the worst thing that ever happened in mainstream medicine, period, was when they decided to divide the human body up and call you a specialist in one organ. You're going to be a brain doctor. You're going to be a heart doctor. You're going to be a liver doctor. You're going to be a kidney doctor. And then what happens is those doctors don't know a damn thing about any other part of the body, just the kidney, just the liver, just the heart. And then they have to pass you around to everybody else. They're like, man, I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like you have high blood pressure too, but I'm here for your kidney problem and urinary output. I think you need to go see a cardiologist. You get to the cardiologist, you're like, something's off on your rhythm. I think it might be neurological. You got to go see a neurologist. And you got all this passing around. You're like, oh my God, what happened to doctors? Literally, even in the UK, having one briefcase and walking into your house and knowing everything about the human body and examining the whole body. People used to come to my practice all the time and go, Dr. Ardis, you don't just treat the spine. You're not a chiropractor. I had people from 16 different countries come into my practice, thousands of patients. And I treated autoimmunity specifically, was my favorite thing. And I just found it amazing. People would go like this, how do we describe you? You're not a chiropractor. And I'd go, oh, just tell all your friends and family I'm a holistic doctor, because I like evaluating the entire body and seeing how it all is connected and how it all works together. I mean, if you had a kidney stone right now stuck in your ureter from your kidney to your bladder, your blood pressure is going to go up. Now, what if you experienced a headache first, and then you went and got your little, your blood pressure cuff, took your blood pressure, and you're like, oh my God, my blood pressure's high. Then you'd go to your primary care doctor, they're like, oh, your blood pressure's high. Then they would send you to a cardiologist to have your blood pressure checked and then put you on some kind of high blood pressure medication. When in fact, 2 weeks later, you pee out the stone, your blood pressure goes down, and it had nothing to do with them telling you you have heart disease because of your parents. You inherited high blood pressure from your folks. No, you didn't. You had a urinary tract infection, you had a stone, you peed it out, now it went away. You don't need those drugs anymore. But this is the limitations I believe and see is a big, big problem in medicine, was
It is.
let's specialize and make everybody just have tunnel vision and just look at one part of the body. Glaucoma is a holistic problem. It could be your liver, it could be your kidneys, but almost 100% of them I've ever evaluated was a kidney issue. And the moment you turned on their kidneys to improve water release, their glaucoma improved.
Yep. And this is why you need a quarterback. There's some of these people cannot have the conversations between their primary care doctor, their specialists, and they're trying to, you can't have all these doctors doing all these different things and not even communicating. That there's a huge gap in healthcare, and that's actually very dangerous. So they say they communicate in these EMR systems. Trust me, I've used them. They don't. Okay. So it's very important to have a quarterback. So how I explain private patient advocacy is you got to have a quarterback in your corner who's helping you call the shots. What's the next play? How are you going to get to a touchdown? How are you going to win and succeed in your healthcare journey? You've got to have a healthcare private patient advocate that believes in medical freedom and that believes that all options should be on the table. That's very important because you can have a patient advocate in the healthcare system, but they work for the healthcare system. They will follow those policies and guidelines from the big healthcare system, and you will not get all of your options. We deal with that all the time, and they are not your friends. That's the other point, Charlie. I would definitely make sure these people are not your friends. Okay, I know they'll make you feel like they're your friends, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feeling when they think their healthcare team is their friend. Look, they don't care about you when you leave the hospital. Okay, sometimes they don't even discharge you appropriately. And guess what? You rebound and have more issues because they didn't discharge you appropriately. Okay, so there's a strategy of survival in the healthcare system, and you need a quarterback.
I'll also piggyback on that. They're not your friends.
You're just a
They're
number.
also not. They're also not God, and they do not know when you're going to die. They don't know how long you have to live.
Yeah.
They do not know all things. Like when they look at you and go, you only got 6 months to live. In fact, I'm going to say here, no medical doctor on earth, OBGYN included, knows when your baby's going to be ready to be born. So when they give you this damn due date and you like stress out, is it going to come now? Is it late? There's never been a baby late. A human being made up a date and said, you know what? I'm going to pretend to be God and tell you the baby's going to be completely ready to be born. Heart's completely developed. Brain's going to be totally developed by September 9th at 10 a.m. No. And then all you're going to do is freak out that when September 10th comes, you're going to be like, oh my God, my baby's late. There's some complication. I need to go have a C-section. I need to go. No. They don't know anything. They just made it up. You do not need a C-section. God did not design the female body to forget how to give birth. Okay, God said, go forth, Adam and Eve, and multiply and replenish the earth. He didn't say, go multiply and replenish the earth, but you're going to forget how to multiply and replenish without having your stomachs all cut open to have your baby taken out. I forgot how to make you give birth naturally. No, this is all, if you haven't understood this whole reason why 90% of all babies born in America are now C-section, do you know how much more money they charge your insurance for a surgery than if you just gave a vaginal birth? You haven't done this math yet? It's not to protect the baby or to protect you. It's to line their pockets with a lot more money they can bill you for. So they are not prophets, seers, and revelators. They are not God. They do not see the future. When they say you only have 6 months to live with your terminal illness, they don't know that. No, they have no idea. They're just making up crap. Do not take them as if they know all things. They do not. You can go home, change your diet, change your sleep habits, change how much radiation you're exposing yourself to in your bedroom while you're sleeping, ground, eat right, change your diet, stop drinking alcohol, stop drinking sodas, whatever, stop eating all the French fries, whatever. You can make changes, and I guarantee you, you can transform your health and live longer than any of them pronounce on you. They are not God.
You want to hear a cool story? We have a 3-year-old that was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, did his Make-A-Wish trip to Disney World in November. He was having chemo all the way up to there, but then the doctor, that of course thinks he's God, told him, we can't give you any more chemo because the chemo gave him heart failure. So they said, we're going to sign him up for hospice. We don't know if he'll live to Christmas. This is Christmas of 2025. Well, here at Great Care, we believe all options should be on the table, and this mom did not know that the doctor was not providing her all of her options. So this child came into one of our new centers in Plano, Texas. So Charlie, if you're ever in Texas, come and see us. We have a brand new spa, healing spa in Plano, Texas, and this sweet young boy is coming to actually remove the toxins from the chemo out of his body. This child came with oxygen, a feeding tube, no hair on his head, no eyelashes, losing weight, and the doctors told the parents he might not make it to Christmas. Well, I got news. We are at the end of April, and we are going to be doing a hospice graduation party for a 3-year-old because he is alive and well, and his PET scan just magically is drastically is improved. So improved that this same doctor called back the mom and said, oh, he's doing so much better. We should start chemo again. And we should also go in and get that last tumor that's in the lung. What? No, no. So we have to be very smart because this doctor is not their friend. If he was their friend, he wouldn't have put them on hospice. He would have found all the other options that we could try to save this child's life. He's 3. So I believe in miracles. I believe because God is way more powerful than these pharmaceuticals, and we are doing it. And these things are possible.
I totally agree. Well, a massive thank you to Brian, to Priscilla, to Drew. It's always a great pleasure to see you, Brian. I think the world of you. The work that you've done is unbelievable. It's such an eye opener, and I thank you. And Priscilla, it's a real privilege and a pleasure to see you on my show. All of this is so constructive. And in a time where the world is being destroyed right now, something constructive is really good. And Drew, thank you very, very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you.
And thank you, Drew.
Soon.
And one last thing here. There's been a lot of questions that were not answered. I saw diabetes and other things. In September or October of 2025, I did 3 weeks in a row. Natural solutions to pre-diabetes. Then the next week I did natural solutions to type 1 diabetes. And the next week I did natural solutions to type 2 diabetes. If you go to the drardisshow.com and click the resources tab at the far right, it opens up these blue windows with a singular title about a health condition. If you click it, you get a free downloadable version of the PowerPoints I walk everybody through on every specific medical health condition that a lot of people here are asking questions about. Just go into that library. You can download them all for free. I walk you through all the research, and then there's episodes where I've already actually done an entire video walking you through everything I know about this condition, what the medical science has confirmed is natural antidotes, even compared to medications like I gave earlier with cholesterol drugs. So there's a lot of resources at the Dr. Ardis Show that's all free. Just go download it, access it, and it gives you the therapeutic ranges, the research studies, the highlighted statements of what doses worked in the majority of all patients, and you might want to start trying those. And if you need an advocate, go to gracecare.com.
It's free. Go get the resources. Yes.
Yeah, go.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys.
All righty.
Charlie, love you, brother. We'll see you soon, I hope.
Too. You too.
Thanks, Drew.
Bye.
These are the facts, not put out by mainstream media. If you want to know the truth, we put out the truth every single day, Monday to Friday. Saturdays and Sundays, we spend with our families, as we should do. So if you want to know the truth, come to charlieward.com and see real news daily. And join the Insiders Club, which is live on Wednesdays and Saturdays.